how Americans have the right to self-defense, even against the police.
And people in the Deep South see a Polish Pope and go, hey, why can't we have one? He's got a name, Pope John Paul. People in the South have names like Pope Joe Jeff Gene John. You could have a Pope from the Deep South. It'd be Pope John Joe Jeff. Here he goes, and Cardinal Bubba. Come on down. Here it is. Someone tries to shoot at him. Drop it. I'm the Pope. I'll nail you. Come on, put it down. There it is. And it'll be a whole different communion. Instead of wine and wafers, you'd have Jack Daniels and beer nuts. Yes, indeed. And if you don't see Jesus then, you never will. You'll be singing. He'll be walking with you. Yes, indeed. Come on out there. And we have difference in America, too, because basically we're heavily armed. You know that. We're born with guns. It's that way. Basically, everyone, you come home, honey, I'm home. Grab it, Dad. Easy, son. This also makes our police overreact a touch. It's like, stop or I'll shoot. In England, it's slightly different. There you are. You basically, if you commit a crime, the policeman goes, stop. Or I'll say stop again. Then there you know.
You need to know this. On Wednesday, the St. Louis Police Department released cell phone footage of Tuesday's fatal police shooting of 25-year-old Kazime Powell, which occurred less than 4 miles away from where Michael Brown was shot 6 times and killed by Ferguson, Missouri police officer Darren Wilson back on August 9th. Powell was at a convenience store when the store owner called 911 after suspecting that Powell had stolen drinks and food. Another woman called 911 and said that Powell had a knife on him and was acting erratically. According to the St. Louis police, when officers arrived on the scene, Powell apparently walked in their direction, telling them to shoot him. St. Louis police said that the officers were forced to open fire on Powell after he came within 3 to 4 feet of them and was holding a knife in an overhand grip. However, the newly released cell phone footage seems to be at odds with the police's account. That's because in the video, while Powell does approach the officers, it appears that he's farther away from them than was reported and has his hands at his side when they start shooting. Take a look, and a warning, this video is extremely graphic and may not be suitable for all viewers.
The police finna pull up. You see, y'all call the police? He bagging up. He got his gun out. Oh. 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 They got their guns out.
Admittedly, it is hard to tell whether or not there's a knife in either of his hands, but regardless, shouldn't police have tried to defuse the situation with Powell first, or use a non-deadly option like tasers or mace instead of shooting him to death? Isn't this yet another example of the militarization of police in America? Let's ask America's lawyer, Mike Papantonio, host of Ring of Fire Radio and Ring of Fire TV. Pap, welcome back.
Tom, how are you?
Just great. Great to have you with us. Let's start with your thoughts on this latest fatal police shooting just miles from where Michael Brown was killed. What's your take on the videos?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about the videos, if you look at the police car from the time it pulls up to the time the shooting takes place, is around 15 seconds. Now, that's ridiculous. The police pull up in 15 seconds. They assess the situation. If you'll notice, by this time, the victim is nowhere around other people. The car is right there with the police. All they have to do is stand on the other side of the car. They can clearly see it's a knife. So, I mean, it's part of the mentality. It's part of that Rambo mentality that's out there right now that we've created. You know, we arm these people with shock wave cannons, for God's sakes. LRAD shock cannons. We give them taser drones. We give them this active, I don't know if you've seen this, this active denial system that they're going to unleash within a matter of months. It's going to be, we're going to see it everywhere. It's where they heat the people's skin up.
They cook you with microwaves.
Exactly, you're cooked with microwave, 130 degrees. So what we've done is we've encouraged all that, Tom. You become what you think about. And these characters think about everything in terms of a Bruce Willis movie or a Rambo movie, and we don't do anything to change that. As a matter of fact, if you really consider how we bring officers into the process, there's all kinds of ways to figure out whether they're suited. There's MMPI, there's all kinds of personality profiles to find out how do they react in a situation like we just saw. These two freaks, these police officers in that situation, it's completely indefensible. They had the car, all they had to do was step on the other side of the car. There was nobody that was around that man at the time, the victim. There was nobody around him that he was threatening. If there was, they could react to that. But they're so close, they're so quick to shooting. And if you don't believe it has to do with the color of his skin, I mean, we're kidding ourselves. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing we're seeing in Ferguson. I mean, exactly the same problem. It's become systemic with the police departments all over the South in a big way, and I'm sure the rest of the country too.
Well, today in the Daily Banter, Ben Cohen's website, Ben is British. He's on our show a fair amount. And over on his website, he showed some videos. You know, while American police officers are resorting to deadly force immediately, over in the UK, Ben pointed out, they do things a little differently. We're playing the video right now on the screen of UK police officers tasering a man wielding a knife at Buckingham Palace, the home of the Queen. They didn't draw their guns. In fact, many of these police don't even have guns. They didn't shoot first. They rationally subdued the man with non-lethal force. And again, here's another video of UK police officers dealing with a man acting erratically, holding a machete in a neighborhood. They keep their distance from the man and basically let him do his thing. Again, no one shoots him. Looks like guns weren't even drawn. They eventually subdued him and took him into custody. So why can't we be rational like that here in the United States?
Well, we can be, but there's no desire to be. You know, it all has to do with the idea of how we screen these police officers. I used to be a prosecutor, Tom, and there were certain police officers that I knew if they brought me a case, it was always going to be a disaster. And if I looked at their career, they were short timers. They didn't last because of things like we just saw. They were quick to use their gun. They were quick to do things that a police officer should not have done. But the point is, we have ways to screen these people. You see, there's plenty of ways to screen them and find out, are they well suited? And then we have the ability to better train them. But the thing we have to stop doing is making them feel like it's okay. Make them stop feeling like they're commandos in some paramilitary kind of outfit that occupies all of America. That's what's going on here in the South in a very heavy way. And I hate to keep saying just the South, but if you look at the statistics, it's pretty overwhelmingly become a Southern kind of issue right now with the way that all this is unfolding.
Speaking of which, your thoughts on the beginning of the grand jury investigation into Michael Brown's death?
Well, it's a disaster. I tell you that because this prosecutor should not be involved in this at all.
McCullough.
This is McCullough should not be involved in this at all, not just because his family relations are overwhelming with family that worked for the police officer, but back in 2000, take a look at this guy's history. Back in 2000, there were 21 bullets unloaded into the bodies of two young men in a car that they did have drugs. They had less than 3 ounces of drugs, but 22 shots killed these two individuals. There were all kinds of quirky things about why the officers shot, how they shot. It appeared in front of the grand jury, and the grand jury, of course, there was no filing again. There was no indictment at all. Why? Because this DA wanted to control that. He knew the outcome that he wanted, and he controlled that. That's what a DA does almost all the time. Let me put that in perspective for you. The same year that happened, there were 60,000 grand jury hearings on things like that. Almost all but 29 of the 60,000 they did find an indictment. Here's the point: the DA walks into an office. Walks into a room where there's 12 jurors there. They're grand jurors. There's nobody else talking about the other side. What the answers are on the other side. As a matter of fact, Tom, the DA is able to offer issues that may not even be admissible in trial. Could be rank hearsay. It could be supposition. It could be forensic evidence that would never be admissible. But he's able to put all that in front
Why do we
of
allow
a
that,
grand
Pat?
jury.
Isn't that unconstitutional?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Look, isn't it? Look, most countries, we're the last country on the globe that uses the grand jury system just for that reason, because they figured out that it's a gamed system. The DA can accomplish whatever he wants. If he wants to indict you, Tom, for something, and he has any kind of facts at all, he's going to get an indictment. The reverse of that is also true. This grand jury has a great relationship with this DA. They've known him forever. He's appeared in front of them every Wednesday or whatever the day is for years. They have a great relationship with this guy. So what he says is going to hold true. Tom, think about this. It's even worse than that. What if there is an indictment? Then we believe that this DA is going to aggressively go out and handle the case, right?
Yeah.
Well, wrong. Because this DA can tweak, just little things, even leading up to trial, even leading up to the final investigation. Tweak little things, and all of a sudden, where something should be a second-degree murder, it disappears. So this man should not be involved. Nixon needs to man up. The governor is just a coward here. This governor needs to man up, get rid of this DA, McCullough, get rid of this grand jury, and move the center of gravity away from Ferguson to where we know at the end of the day, as all this is happening, at least we know it's fair. Yeah. At least we know it's taken place in a way that we can be proud of.
Yeah. Meanwhile, earlier in St. Louis, earlier this week, a St. Louis officer was caught pointing a rifle at protesters and screaming that he was going to kill them. Check this out.
Yeah.
Hands up. Kill you. Get back. Hands up. Get back. You're going to kill him. He's trying to kill him. He's trying to get back. What's your name, sir? Your name's go yourself, all right? Go yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, officer. Go yourself.
Officer, go yourself. He's trying to kill me.
The officer has since been suspended. Pap, your thoughts on officer go screw yourself? Let's say we have 30 seconds.
Yeah, officer said his stomach hurt, or he had an upset stomach. Officer said people were throwing things at him. Look, this guy shouldn't be there to begin with. That's what I'm saying. The screening is so important. This is some character that probably has no basis. He's been on the force for 20 years from what I read. He has no basis for even being out there with that kind of firepower, much less pointing the nose of the end of that rifle out to a crowd of people. Yeah. He's a dangerous man. He's far more dangerous than most criminals on the street.
Mike Papantonio, thanks so much for being with us tonight, Pap.
Welcome back to Freedom Watch. In Orange County, California, 2 police officers stand accused of turning a routine detention of a homeless man into murder. Kelly Thomas was allegedly tasered 4 times, then the cops allegedly hit him on the head, eventually killing him. These accusations come not from some human rights organization, but from the Orange County District Attorney, who has charged one of the officers with second-degree murder and the other with manslaughter. The DA himself is known for his strong backing of law enforcement, and he has a wonderful reputation throughout the country. But he has said that this case shows how Americans have the right to self-defense, even against the police. Here to explain this difficult and unpleasant situation is Orange County District Attorney Tony Rackauckas. Tony, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So you had a very difficult job to do. You're not the U.S. Attorney. You're not the Attorney General in Washington. You are the local prosecutor for whom these police gather evidence in the preparation of your criminal cases. And you came to the conclusion that the 2 of them intentionally killed this guy, and one of them committed murder. What did you learn, and how did you learn it?
Well, what you're saying is all correct, and yes, what we have is a video surveillance camera in this parking lot at this Fullerton bus depot, and as well as the various police officers wearing digital audio recording devices, and so. We were able to see what was taking place from pretty much from the initial contact to the time that the contact turned violent, to the time that the victim here, Kelly Thomas, passed out from the use of force. From all that trauma.
What force was used on him by the one officer whom you charged with second-degree murder? What do you say that officer did? What does the tape show him doing?
Well, what that officer did was he took a pretty ordinary contact into a violent situation where this victim would have a right to self-defense. What he did was he put latex gloves on. He menaced the victim, towering over him. The victim, of course, was just sitting there, and he doubled his fist up, doubled his fist and put them in the victim's face and said, "You see these? These fists are ready to F you up." And then proceeded. There was some more conversation, brief conversation after that, excuse me, and then he proceeded to get him by the arm, and at that point the victim, understanding he was it was going to be a beating as opposed to anything else, started trying to step away from the officer, and the officer then came after him with a baton and started tackling him, and another officer who was a little ways distant from there came and assisted taking him down, and then other officers came to the scene to come to the aid of that first officer.
Why did the police take his life? He was homeless, he was defenseless, he was inoffensive, he had no weapon. What conceivable reason could they have had for killing him?
Well, he was all of the things that you just said, and when they tackled him and he was squirming and resisting, we had the first officer as well as the second and third officer put so much weight on him. They put all their body weight on him, and it compressed his chest, and he couldn't breathe. He was begging for breath, begging for help, and none was forthcoming. And
Tony, I know the laws are different in each state, and I know this happened in California. But what can an ordinary person do to resist unlawful violence when the violence is perpetrated by the police?
Well, you know, to begin with, we do have a United States constitutional right to be free from unlawful or unwarranted excessive force under color of law. So that part doesn't vary from state to state, and I think that citizens, or everybody, not just citizens, but we all have a right to self-defense. So, the difficulty, of course, is I wouldn't want to suggest to people that whenever they disagree with a police officer, they have a right to self-defense. They don't. As long as the officer is doing a lawful duty and using reasonable force, we have a duty to submit to that. So it's a very, very tough problem. But a police officer is not entitled to just say, "I'm going to beat you up," and proceed
get away
to do
with
that. You can defend yourself, or you're not entitled to commit a crime against the person.
Tony Rackauckas, the District Attorney from Orange County, California. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, bud. Let me talk to you real quick. Come here. What's going on, sir? Do what? India? Your knee? You're doing what? Okay, come here. Hang tight real quick. Where are you headed? Where? I can't understand you, sir. Where's your address? Where do you live? Stop walking. Stop walking. Do you have any ID on? No ID. What's your name? India? Okay. Do you live here? Do you live in this neighborhood? Where's your address? Where are you going? Okay. Sir, come here. We're trying to figure this out. Are you looking at houses and stuff? Come here. Stop. Do not jerk away from me again. If you do, I'm going to put you on this ground. Do not jerk away from me one more time. Do you understand? Do you you understand what I'm saying? Do not jerk away from me again. Wait a second. Sit tight. Relax. Relax. Stop! I'm trying to jerk. Relax. Stop! Relax. Stop! Relax.
How Americans have the right to self-defense even against the police.
Progress comes in small steps for Suresh Bhai Patel. In his weekly rehab sessions, he's starting to walk again after he was pushed to the ground by police earlier this year. The incident left the 58-year-old grandfather partially paralysed. Suresh Bhai Patel had moved to America from Gujarat in India to help take care of his young grandson. And it was in February of this year that he went for a morning walk here on this street in a suburb of Huntsville, Alabama. A stroll close to his son's house was part of the daily ritual for Mr. Patel, who'd only been in the country a week. But that morning, a neighbour spotted him and called the police.
Hey, bud. Let me talk to you real quick.
Officers arrived shortly after and began asking Suresh Bhai questions. But unable to speak or understand English, he struggled to respond.
What's your name?
He's saying no English. He doesn't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
India.
India? Okay.
રોડના ઉપરના પથ્થરની લાઈન પર જે હું ગયો સીધા વોકિંગ કરવા ગયો એટલે સામેથી બૂમ પાડી એટલે ઊભો રહ્યો એટલે હું સીધો આવ્યા એટલે બે પગલાં ભર્યા મેં કે મારા હાઉસ 148 બતાવ્યું અને આવ્યો અને હાથ પકડ્યો એટલે ખીચા બહારથી તપાસ્યા તો રૂમાલને સોપારીને પડી ગઈ હતી એટલે મને નીચે ઘાસમાં પાડ્યો.
Stop! Trying to jerk away from me.
As his son, what went through your mind when you watched that video for the first time?
It was a very devastating video that I saw. How come you just walk in and break somebody's neck?
27-year-old police officer Eric Parker was fired and charged with third-degree assault. He's also been charged in a federal court with excessive use of force. The case has been tried twice, and both times the juries failed to reach a unanimous decision.
Is there anything you want to say about the outcome today?
Not at this time. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Parker said he didn't mean to hurt Mr. Patel, but had acted in the interest of officer safety after Mr. Patel refused to comply with his requests. During their arguments, the defence said, "When you come to the US, we expect you to follow our laws and speak our language. Mr. Patel bears as much responsibility for this as anyone."
Do I feel angry? Yes, of course. I do feel angry because of my dad already mentioned it 5 times that he doesn't speak English. And now you are using that as an excuse of force that has been used. Then, yes, I'm disappointed on it.
Mr. Patel enjoys being with his grandson. His wife recently joined him from India too. He plans to stay in the US despite all that's happened. And how is your dad doing day by day?
Oh, it's hard for him. So he was an independent man before, and suddenly you change one person's life. But slowly he's making a progress and getting independence, slowly. But still, he's not 100% yet, and we don't know if he is going to get the 100%.
As he makes a steady recovery, Suresh Bhai Patel told me he thinks what Eric Parker did was wrong, but says he doesn't feel angry. Rajini Vaidyanathan, BBC News in Madison, Alabama.
Anybody wants to fight or run, I'm a little trigger happy, guys. Not gonna lie. You know, I get paid a ton of money in overtime. If I have to shoot somebody, I don't do anything stupid. All right?
shit.
That major outrage this morning after a behavioral therapist was shot by an officer after he held his hands in the air, lying on the ground, his patient with autism sitting right nearby. ABC's Gio Benitez has more on this story. Good morning to you, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. That new video taking social media by storm overnight. The unarmed black behavioral therapist shot by police on the streets of Miami. And police say it all started when they got a call about a man threatening suicide. Watch, just moments before the shooting, you can see 47-year-old Charles Kinsey, his hands raised in the air. The video released overnight by his lawyer. Kinsey in the yellow shirt works at an assisted living facility. And the man at his feet is a 23-year-old with autism who ran away from the group home. Listen as Kinsey talks to police. Kinsey even tries to calm the young man with autism. At some point, one of the officers shoots Kinsey, but he survives and speaks with Fox station WSVN from his hospital bed, recounting what he told that officer.
And I'm telling him again, sir, there's no need for a firearm. I'm unarmed. He's an autistic guy. He had a toy truck in his hand. When he hit me, I'm like, I still got my hands in the air. I said, no, I just got shot. And I'm standing there, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
Video of the actual shooting hasn't been released, but this is the moment right after. And this morning, Kinsey is expected to make a full recovery. The North Miami Police Department has placed the officer on administrative leave, and the local state attorney's office is now investigating Amy.
Gio, this is so hard for people to get their heads around after all that has happened. Have the police there admitted that now they know this was a therapist and his patient? Where does this investigation go?
Yeah, absolutely. They acknowledge he's an ALF employee. They acknowledge the other one is a young man with autism. And that's why, Amy, this is going to be a very serious investigation. A lot of people asking, how could this happen?
A lot of people, Gio. All right, thank you.
The disturbing video comes from the inside of an emergency room, and the woman screaming, a burn unit nurse who is being arrested by a Salt Lake City police officer.
Then walk.
The incident, captured by police and hospital cameras, happened in July. But now the district attorney says he wants a criminal investigation.
She doesn't. Salt Lake City Police.
University of Utah nurse Alex Wubbles says she was just doing her job, following hospital protocol by refusing to let police take a blood sample from an unconscious patient.
Is this patient under arrest?
Nope. Wubbles says Detective Jeff Payne demanded a blood sample from a car crash victim who was in a coma and severely burned. His truck smashed by a car racing from police, according to local media. Wubbles calmly explains the policy for obtaining blood.
The three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest, and neither of those things, the patient can't consent.
She even gets her supervisor on the phone, who backs her up. The tension only escalates.
She's the one that has told me no.
Yeah, but sir, you're making a huge mistake right now.
Okay.
You're making a huge mistake because you're threatening and burning.
Okay. No, we're done. We're done. You're under arrest. We're going. We're done.
Salt Lake City's police chief apologized and said what happened was unacceptable.
I was alarmed by what I saw in the video. I want to be very clear. We take this very seriously.
For now, Wubbles isn't filing a lawsuit.
I feel very strongly in giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I truly believe that he was honest in his apology and sincere in his willingness to try and make change and make things better.
Police released Wubbles without charges that day after she sat in the police car for 20 minutes. Detective Payne said in a written report that his watch commander advised him to arrest the nurse for interfering with a police investigation. Payne and another officer now on administrative leave as internal investigators look into this startling incident. Dan Simon, CNN, Salt Lake City.
First-degree manslaughter, the charge facing a white police officer in the U.S. state of Oklahoma who fatally shot an unarmed black man whose car had broken down and blocked a road. Terrence Crutcher's final moments were captured on a police video that shows him with his hands in the air shortly before he was shot. If convicted, policewoman Betty Shelby faces at least 4 years in jail.
In the matter of the death of Terrence Crutcher, I determined that the filing of the felony crime of manslaughter in the first degree against Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby is warranted. Officer Shelby, although now charged, is presumed to be innocent until a judge or a jury determines otherwise.
According to an arrest affidavit, Shelby told investigators that she was in fear for her life and thought Crutcher was going to kill her. In a bid for transparency, police in Tulsa have released 2 videos of the shooting.
Down at a bar or a bus stop, I have the right to kill you right now because you're trying to take me over. Don't get stupid with me.
We're not going to get stupid.
You said we were walking out of here, now you're bringing up assault and everybody's going to get hurt again? All right, don't change up your agreement. I'm going to try to walk with you.
All right.
Love folks, don't try to harm me. Keep your word. I can keep you safe. All right? Don't worry about safety. I'm not a fucking murderer. All right? Try to harm me. Try to harm you. All right?
Do it.
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Don't make noise!
Put it up! Move it up!
Get your hands up!
Still got the knives in his hand? Still got the knives in his hand.
Still got his knives in his hands.
Stepping up behind you. You moving?
His hands, he's still armed. Get your hands out.
Get
Drop
your hands
the knife.
out.
Beam back. Right behind you.
Put your hands out to your side and drop the knife. Hands out to your side.
Beanbag! Beanbag!
Drop the knife.
Drop the knife!
Drop the knife.
Still got the knife in his hand? Negative effect. You guys want to dog on him? I can get him on him. Yeah, I don't want that knife in his head. I'll be hands free. All right, he's good. Somebody step on that right hand real hard. He's got a knife in each hand. Knife in each hand. Knife in each hand. Rex, low. I got left. Good on. I'm gonna switch you. All right. Good. You got lethal right there? Yes. I have lethal. What's your right hand? Follow. Get to that knife. It's further away from you. I didn't see where the other one went. Where'd the first knife go? Oh. Where'd the first knife's up there. Okay. You need necessary cuffs? Yeah, we're good, Bill. We're rolling over, right? Okay. So you guys check that, make sure nobody else. Yep, got it. I'm with you. Good on my right. Okay. I'm good here. Okay. Here? Yeah, somewhere else. Here. All right.
Sure.
Okay,
What's
no problem.
wrong?
You have a handgun. You have a
I
handgun,
do.
a permit for the. You just somebody just said that one of you guys had a gun on him.
I got a
So
gun.
this gonna be. You don't have any weapons on you, do you? I'm asking you a question. Do you have any guns? Turn around.
Why are you putting your hands on me?
Because I'm checking to see if you have any weapons. Because your partner does.
Don't put
That's why
your
I'm putting
hands on me.
Turn around.
Please do not put your hands on me.
It's illegal to take my picture.
No, it isn't illegal to take my picture. It's a public property.
It's illegal to take my picture. Personally, it is illegal. Did
No,
you get
it
any
isn't.
documentation I'm allowed you to take my picture?
No,
it's
but
not.
you're on public property.
No, I'm not. I'm
Therefore,
on
you
state
have no
property. I'm
reasonable
on state property.
You have no reasonable expectation of
Be quiet.
privacy. Can I have my phone back?
Not yet. I got the camera. You want to just punch a number on us and do what? Gotta cover our ass. Okay. I mean, we can hit him with creating a public disturbance. He showed up. We going to do it. I think we do triple truck stop, we do reckless use of the highway, and creating a public disturbance. Yeah. Yeah. All three are tickets. Yeah. For all three charges on a ticket.
Explain that in the backup we have multiple people stopping the court. They didn't want to stay in the particular location, so we took our own court.
Shit.
I ended up with a camera on my roof. Still on. Says,
Sir, is your weapon?
Thank you.
Here's the bullets for your weapon.
Okay.
Here's your ID.
Okay.
Your gun
Really?
permit.
You're writing me a citation
Yes,
for
sir.
what?
Two issues, two violations, sir. Reckless use of the highway by a pedestrian and creating a public disturbance. Pay the ticket on time. Let's be a warrant for your arrest. Okay. Be careful driving. Be careful walking, I should say. And also, just all I'm saying is the people get scared when they drive by and they see somebody with a side on and it's not covered. Okay. You got to think about other people. All right. Have a
But
good
it's
night.
my right to do this.
We got reports from motorists coming by that the weapon was in your hand.
Somebody just said that one of you guys had a gun on him.
We got reports from motorists coming by that the weapon was in your hand.
explain that in the backup we have multiple people stopping the court. They didn't want to stay in the particular location, so we took our own court.
We got reports from motorists coming by that the weapon was in your hand.
How Americans have the right to self-defense, even against the police.
Welcome back to The Ed Show. On September 4th, South Carolina Highway Patrol officer Sean Grobert pulled over LeVar Edward Jones for a seatbelt violation. This all unfolded in Columbia, South Carolina. A newly released dash cam video shows exactly what happened next. What you're seeing here is very disturbing.
Can I see your license, please? Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
I just got my license. You can't get my license. I grabbed my license right there. That's my license right there.
Put your hands behind your back. 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 Put your hands behind your back.
What did I do, sir?
Are you hit?
I think so. I can't feel my leg. I don't know what happened. I just grabbed my leg.
Brakes on 86690 at 1052.
Why did you shoot me?
Well, you dove head first back into your car.
I'm sorry.
Then you jumped back out. I'm telling you, get out of your car.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear 2 words, sir.
LeVar Jones was unarmed. There was not a weapon in the car. Jones put up his hands. Police say Jones was hit in the hip with a bullet and is now recovering after a stay in the hospital. The trooper was fired last Friday and arrested Wednesday night for assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature. The charges carry a maximum sentence of up to 20 years in prison. This summer, we have witnessed several cases of police officers using deadly force on unarmed black men. What makes this case stand out is the officer was swiftly fired and now faces criminal charges. Joining me now, the Rapid Response Panel is Trymaine Lee, MSNBC.com national reporter, and also America's attorney Mike Papantonio, host of the Ring of Fire radio show. Great to have both of you with us tonight. Mike, you first.
Thank you.
As an attorney, what do you make of this video? How damaging is this video and how telling is it?
Well, it tells us that the Sean Grobert quality police officers are all over the country, first of all, poorly trained, unqualified to act, rationally under stress, which they should be trained to do, and a little too easily frightened to be permitted to carry a gun. And a guy like this makes it tough for all the police officers who are qualified. Look, we have a camera here that recorded, as you pointed out, no signs of provocation, no signs of aggression by Jones. A man stopped for a seatbelt violation. The only thing that went right in that incompetent officer clown act was that there was a camera rolling where the shooter couldn't make some half-baked story up about the victim reaching for a gun or the victim being aggressive or belligerent. The move towards requiring police body cameras is the way to solve this problem, where we can actually have a legitimate picture of what happened. Unfortunately, this is becoming less and less rare. Fortunately, the guy was poorly trained because he fired 4 shots and only hit Jones with 1 of them. That shows you exactly how poorly trained he is. He was firing it from about 25 feet. But it's becoming an epidemic problem, and it's bad for the police officers who really do a great job out there every day to see a video like this.
Yeah. Trymaine, why do you think this case is different? Is it the videotape?
I think it's the videotape, which, as we have calls rising from all across the country saying that police need to be, wearing body cameras, it's the videotape. It's that there was seemed to be no provocation. But then when you hear him on the ground saying, "What did I do wrong? What did I do?" And he's confused. So imagine how often things go awry and there is no camera, where all one would have to say is that he reached for a gun or something else happened. And so I think this is exactly why people all across the country are clamoring and demanding that there be more accountability for police action, but also these body cameras that capture exactly these kinds of interactions.
Because of the history that has gone on between law enforcement and black males in this country, I think you see 2 people on videotape who are really scared. The cop really didn't know what to do, and the kid didn't know what to do. The guy was so intimidated by the police officer, he had his hands up. He went so quickly into the car to get his driver's license, the cop thought that he was going in to get a firearm. Now, Mike, if that's not stereotyping, I don't know what is. Oh, here's a black guy. He's going back into the car. He's probably got a gun. Damn it, I'm going to shoot him. I mean, this is a mindset, I think, in the South. And if I'm wrong on that, tell me. But things like this continue to happen. All of this over a seatbelt violation. Pat, your thoughts?
Ed, heavily in the South. I live down here, have my whole life. I'd like to say that it's certainly not a problem unique to the South, but it's huge down here. Termaine brought up the idea of the camera. It can be as small as a fountain pen cap, the worn on glasses, directly on the uniform. They can be incorporated right into the badge that they wear. And here's the point. It protects the officer from becoming a victim to allegations of bad conduct. It protects the individual from being arrested by some heavy-handed thug, incompetent buffoon like we just saw here, some poorly trained a police officer. There are no conflicting accounts when you have a camera. It's no he says, she says narrative. So the cost of the camera is not an obstacle. This is what protects the black man being arrested in that kind of situation. Yes, his reaction was exactly what you said. He was frightened. He reached into his car immediately. Yeah. And then the poor training of this police officer comes right into play.
Well, he was told to get his license. What if, Termaine, if he had put his hand in his pocket, would the cop have thought he was putting his hand in his pocket to get a gun?
I couldn't surmise or speculate on what could have happened, but I think the argument always is, you know, folks want to paint a broad brush and say that it's the attitude of some of these young black men, that you need to pull your pants up, you need to not dress or act like a thug. But even in moments where you do everything right and you follow commands and you follow orders, this kinds of thing happens far too often. And one thing that is striking, as he's on the ground, he's saying sorry to the police officer. He's saying sorry. Yeah. You told me to get my license.
Yeah,
he's saying sorry after being shot, and he's saying sorry.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think he's really smart saying that because he thinks probably the cop's going to shoot him again. So, that's probably exactly why he's saying, you know, his best defense is saying, I'm sorry at that point because the guy shot him for no reason. I'll tell you what, it is just absolutely amazing to me, and I feel sorry for the cop. I do. What brought him to that mindset? Poor training. Termaine Lee, Mike Papantonio, great to have both of you with us tonight. Coming up.
Huh?
You're not Kevin by any chance, are you?
Kevin?
Yeah.
No.
Sure?
Of course.
What is your name?
Oh, you want to know my name?
You look like someone we're just looking to speak to. It's not Kevin?
Wrong person.
What's your name?
You don't need to know my name.
You can tell me, it's fine. What's your name?
Of course, because I knew you guys were going to circle around.
Yeah.
What's your name?
What's your name? It's Crossan. What's yours? Hold up,
Here
hold
we
up,
go.
hold up. Here you go.
Stage 2.
Yeah, 1606. What's 1606? You can film it, though. What's your name?
Why do you need to know my name? Why are you stopping me, actually?
Because we're looking to speak to you.
I don't want to be spoken to.
What's up? What's happening?
What's up?
Okay.
Again, here we go.
Here we go.
Stage 2.
What's stage 1?
What's your name?
It's Crossan. I already told you.
And yours?
Callahan, is that what?
Okay,
How you doing,
here we go.
Where do you live?
You don't need to know that.
You just out here killing time
I'm going
today?
to the barbershop.
You look like you just got it done.
Because I'm clean. Why you bothering me? I knew you was going to bother me since I got out my Uber.
Yeah.
I had my camera ready.
I know you did.
Exactly. So what you stopping me for? You still ain't telling me what you're stopping me for. You still ain't telling me what you're stopping me for.
Your parents proud of you for flipping off the police?
Hey. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Stupid man.
What are you doing for work? What do you do for work? Anything?
I do a lot for work.
Like what? Like what?
I do a lot for work.
Go away.
I do a lot for
Away.
work. Stupid.
Go away, tough
Pig.
Go away.
That's what he is.
Go away.
That's what he is.
Go away.
Stupid. Wasting time.
Make sure you post
I
this.
appreciate you.
Make sure you post this and show what are you doing. It's noontime on a Thursday. What are you doing today?
And what are you doing?
I'm working.
Going to the
What are you doing?
You're doing the wrong thing. You ain't even. You stopping the wrong person. Watch out, out of here. Out of here. Stupid. You look stupid. You just stopped the wrong person. Wasting your own time.
Whose phone is that?
Look how stupid he is. Look how stupid he looks. Back
Go
in
away.
your car. Thank you. You're crazy. Here we go. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Stupid man.
What are you doing for work? What do you do for work? Anything?
I do a lot for work.
Like what? Like what?
I do a lot for work.
Go away.
I do a lot for
Away.
work. Stupid.
Go away, tough
Pig.
Go away.
That's what he is.
Go away.
That's what he is.
Go away.
Stupid. Wasting time.
Make sure you post
I
this.
appreciate you.
Make sure you
Of
post
course
this
I'm
and
gonna
show what
post
you.
this shit.
What are you doing? It's noontime on a Thursday. What are you doing today?
And what are you doing?
I'm working.
Going to the barber
What are you
shop.
doing?
You're doing the wrong thing. You ain't even. You stopping the wrong person. Watch out, out of here. Out of here. Stupid. You look stupid. You just stopped the wrong person. Wasting your own time.
Whose phone is that?
Look how stupid he is. Look how stupid he looks. Back
Oh,
in
wait.
your car.
But our top focus here is this story, in fact, developing at this point in time. In February 2015, the Alabama cop Eric Parker brutally assaulted an elderly Indian, Suresh Bhai Patel. Now, the Alabama Attorney General has announced that criminal charges against the cop will be dropped. The policeman is also cleared of assault charges. The stage then, remember, is set for the racist cop to walk scot-free. But the Patel family here says that their fight for justice will continue. This is what we've heard from Chirag Patel.
I'm not surprised at all that happened in the state of Alabama. State of Alabama has a history of discrimination, a long history of discrimination. If you look at the state of Alabama, so I'm very disappointed, but I'm not surprised that this is what the state of Alabama did. But what I don't understand is after the first trial, based on the officer's testimony, state has said that they are very confident, based on that testimony, that they will move forward and they have a very strong case. But after the second trial, now what they're saying is they have evaluated and come to the conclusion that they don't have a very good case against him. But the first trial and second trial was the same trial. There is nothing changed. So why they had a different opinion after the first trial and now after the second trial they have a different opinion? I don't know. So and also one thing that came out in the first and second trial was in the courtroom that had been said that my father must speak English. As far as I know, that is not the law, and my father does not have to speak English over here. And if that is the case, let's consider that is the case, then United States Embassy in Mumbai has have to notify my dad while the immigration process was going on. They have failed to mention that Mr. Patel or my father, when they were going through the immigration process, that he must speak English. They did not notify my dad. So I believe, based on the testimony, based on all the things that has been said in the court, in the federal court, that United States Embassy in Mumbai has failed to notify my dad, and they should issue an official statement that if they are agreeing with my dad has to speak English over here or not agreeing. Otherwise, if they don't do anything, and I'm willing to go on a hunger strike outside the United States Embassy to get the justice. And we are willing to die. We are willing to die on a hunger strike outside the United States Embassy in Mumbai, to get the fair statement from them that that was their mistake or there was a lie in the federal court of the United States.
So that's Lewitt's son, in fact, asking that what really happened to justice and what really happened to the tall promises that were made to him then. Remember, this is in February 2015 when his father there was attacked. These are visuals of then that you see on your screens. But what has curiously happened now is that all criminal charges against this racist cop have been dropped.
Developing now, their job is to serve and protect. But this morning, 4 police officers are accused of lying under oath. Good morning, I'm Mary Porterfield.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Roseanne Tejas. It's a scandal that involves Chicago and a well-to-do suburb. CBS 2's Susanna Song joins us live from the newsroom with the latest. Susanna.
Hey, Roseanne, they've been charged with felony perjury, accused of providing false testimony and lying about how they handled a drug bust in Glenview. This dash cam video holds all the evidence. It shows police pulling over a man in 2013. He's immediately handcuffed. Then officers take him to the back of the squad car before searching the car and finding drugs. Officers testified in court that they saw a pound of marijuana just lying openly in the back seat in plain view, and that is why they arrested him. A judge said the video proves the officers lied and called their testimony outrageous. Charged with perjury are Chicago Police Sergeant James Padar, Chicago Police Officer William Pruenti, Chicago Police Officer Vince Morgan, and Glenview Police Officer James Horn. Last year, that man successfully sued the 4 officers. He and his lawyer shared why.
They said that when they approached Joe, they asked him some questions. They asked him if he had any drugs. According to the police, Joe said, yes, we have drugs in the back. According to them, they then took Joe to the back, searched the car with his permission, according to the police, whereupon they saw the drugs lying in plain view.
If it could happen to me, it could honestly happen to anybody. And I just happen to be one of the lucky few that has a video that proves that they were wrong.
All drug charges were dropped against Sperling. The 4 officers are expected to appear in bond court today. Harry, Roseanne.
Thank you so much, Suzanne.